Welcome back to the TMBC Wake YouTube channel. If you haven't entered the surfboard giveaway yet, make sure to get over to that video and get yourself entered. I'll put a link right above me, I'll put a link in the description below, and I'll put a link at the end of this video. Okay, so today's video covers how to inspect your raw water impeller on a wake boat. I have a little throat thing going on, so my voice is a little bit different today. But this video was suggested by a comment, and I thought it was a great idea. So shout out to D. Newmanful for the comment. I thought it was a great idea because I normally check my raw water impeller once a year, and I normally do it before I get back out on the water for the season. Although you could do it as part of your winterization. And I was also told by the service manager at my dealer that you can actually help your raw water impeller last longer if you pull it and leave it in some oil to keep it flexible. Definitely not required, and that's not what I've done, but a good little tip. And it all depends on your engine's manual. These days there are a lot of owner's manuals out there that will tell you that you should replace your raw water impeller annually. I don't do that. I just make sure it's in good working condition. I am definitely a believer of if a part is still in good condition, why replace it? I do just want to put a disclaimer out there that I am not a certified mechanic. So if your engine were to overheat because your raw water impeller did not get changed at the appropriate time, I would imagine that might void your warranty. So make sure that you are doing what you are comfortable with. That being said, inspecting your raw water impeller is not that hard. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to get to it. I even have a video and different tools I'll reference that are helpful in this process. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so on my boat, I'm entering from the transom starboard side, and I'm going to have to remove the engine panels, which I expect most of you to need to do as well. Whether or not you access it from the starboard or port side will kind of depend on your engine. There may even be some cases where your impeller is at the front of the engine as opposed to the rear of the engine. Basically, you want to look for where your raw water intake hoses lead to. My raw water impeller is at the rear of the engine or at the rear of the boat. You can see it is actually marked with one of the blue stickers showing you that that is one of the places that you should release water for winterization if you don't use antifreeze. Most raw water impellers are going to look very similar to this. It's going to be a circular panel. There's going to be both an input and an output hose. So you want to look for basically a flat round piece that has two hoses going to it. In my case, there are 4 screws holding a panel in place, and that is the most common. You may see 3 or you may see a different arrangement of screws, but it should look very similar to this. I am going to use a short flathead screwdriver to remove my screws. These screws do look like they'd fit a wrench, but I tried several different wrench heads and nothing would fit tight enough to undo it. So I'm using a flathead screwdriver, and you can see that I was able to get the first screw off, so that should work. So I'm just going to go through and remove these screws really quick here. After I removed all the screws, I actually had to put the end of the flathead screwdriver in between the panel and the housing and to kind of pry it off, because it is painted, so the paint is kind of holding it on there. It also has a seal in there, so that stuff is probably just kind of sticking together. So I had to pry that off. And now you see the panel fell to the bottom of the boat. So just showing you that panel here. So here's a more close-up of the panel. You can see the white seal, you can see the sticker on the back of it, and you can see some of the paint that was holding it on that came off of the housing with it. So now I'm showing you what the impeller looks like sitting in the housing. You can see that my impeller looks like it's in good shape. The way you would be able to tell if your impeller was not in good shape is if there were some of the fingers or flaps or teeth, whatever you want to call them, that were missing, or maybe you could see some cracking. You can even feel, you can even move those flaps around a little bit and see if they're still flexible. Even though I'm not showing that, I did do that. And I'm not going to remove my impeller because I do not want to accidentally damage it. There's no reason for me to remove it at this point. If I was going to remove the impeller to put it in oil over the off season or something to that effect, keep it flexible, keep it fresh, I would suggest using an impeller puller, which is a tool specifically designed for pulling that impeller out, and would be able to keep your impeller in good shape during the removal. If you're not worried about damaging it, for example, if you are replacing it, I've done this before where I didn't care about damaging the impeller, and in that case you can use a set of needle nose pliers. I would suggest the bent ones like the picture you see here, or you can use a set of channel locks if the head is small enough and skinny enough to fit in between the flaps on the impeller. And then you can just basically wiggle that thing out of there. I'll put a link to a video in the description below that shows the process of removing and replacing your impeller, because I'm not going to be doing that here. Basically, this video is just for the inspection of your impeller and also how to locate your impeller. Okay, so in my case, I just went ahead and put the panel back on, and I should be good for this season. I'll check it again after this season's over. And if you ever have any trouble with your engine getting a little hot or overheating, this is something you should check. It could be due to the fact that your impeller is wearing out or has been damaged. Your impeller is one of the main reasons you should never run your engine dry, because it can quickly burn this impeller up. It's rubber, so it only takes a few seconds before it gets too hot and will melt the flaps. That could be one of the reasons why your engine's overheating as well. Obviously, the other reason why you wouldn't want to run your engine dry is, depending on your engine, it wouldn't have any coolant because the water is your coolant. So you'd be overheating and potentially seizing your motor. So that's my video for this week. I am going to do a summarization video, which will be a short video just to show you the things I do to get ready for my season, because I am getting ready for my season right now. The lakes are melting and I should be able to get in the water soon. And the other thing I want to give you a heads up on, I have been talking about doing a ceramic coating. I'm going to give you a little teaser and just show you what I'm going to use. So I'm going to use Silex. So this is something I've done some research on, and I'm really curious how it might work out. I don't want to do the full ceramic coating because I've heard many things about that, and how painful of a process it is. Also, if you have it professionally done, I've heard of anything from like $2,000 to $4,000 to do that. I've done a lot of research about this, and basically what I'm looking for is a wax replacement, because I hate wax. Although wax is great on your gel coat, I hate the fact that when you wax your boat or your car or whatever it may be, wax gets in all kinds of places that you never get it out of. And on my boat and my trailer, if you get it on the tower or on the trailer, it is almost impossible to get that stuff off. So I wanted to try something else. Hydro Silex, supposedly you're supposed to be able to put on everything. I mean, the upholstery, windshield, tower, everything, even the sea deck. So and it's half a bottle of this is supposed to cover a 40-foot boat, and that's with a big cabin on it and everything. So I should only have to use a half a bottle of this at the most on my 24 MXZ. So that video is coming soon. Again, I'm just waiting for the weather to be correct. I want to do this inside my garage because you're not supposed to do it in direct sunlight, and I need it to be at least above 50. Probably I'd like to be above 60. So not quite getting to those temperatures in my garage yet. It has been getting into the 60s outdoors. So I think that's coming soon. And my first video will obviously be just the application of the product and how that goes. And then I will follow up in a later video with how I believe it worked. So thank you for watching my video. I hope this video helped you. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Also leave comments below if you have something to say about it. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you can be notified of my future videos. I'll see you next week.